Broadcasting from the World Conference Center in Bonn, Germany, Solutions Review is on location at the FME User Conference 2023, the peak of data integration. Brought to you by Safe Software and Terra.
Hey, it's Doug Atkinson, and we are back here in Bonn, Germany at the Peak of Data Integration event, and we are joined by a couple of representatives from one of our hosts, Henning Lackenberg, Sales Team Lead, and Christian Dahmen, Team Lead Data Integration for Product Services at Terra. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for having us be a part of this. This is quite an event. A lot of people who are now eating. But the thing I wanted to start with is really your experience that you've had over almost 18 years now at Terra. You've seen a lot of things. And a lot of the evolution of FME. Can you talk a little bit about what you're seeing in terms of the changing way that customers are thinking about data and data integration?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, thank you for having me here, having us here. That's, in the very beginning, so roughly 18 years ago, it was more on just creating this little solutions for data integration, data transformation. And then there was a journey beginning with introduction of FME Server, where it becomes more a part of the whole company. So it was integrated in the IT, and then we help people to get the processes up there. And nowadays we have many questions around IT security, for example. So we changed it from creating workspaces for the customer into big questions like, for example, the IT security.
Yeah, and you'd kind of expect that to be the journey, right? It's like, what can I do with my data? And then all of a sudden you realize how much data you have.
Yeah.
And I need to now worry as much about my data being utilized as I do about protecting it.
Yeah.
I'm curious with regard to an event like this where it's a lot of partners. There's a lot of new kind of product thought and development of some product initiatives. What do you get out of an event like this?
For me personally, it's like, because being with Terra for just over 4 years, it's actually the first time that I meet customers in person, some of them at least, because we had the pandemic pretty much for the past 2.5 years. Luckily that's gone, so it's just to interact with them personally, to have a coffee here and just discuss things that they are planning to do using FME, of course, but also just to meet them on a more like personal level, even like last night on the river cruise.
It's just last night.
A little bit. Yeah, so that's for me the most beneficial part, is just the interaction with our customers directly.
Yeah, no, that was a great event last night. Well done. That was wild. Tell me a little bit about a typical engagement. So somebody's interested in working with Terra. It's my understanding the way that you actually, both sides of the equation are right here, right? You get some sales support, you get some technical solution support. Is that how somebody can expect to engage Terra when they're...
Yeah, I mean, essentially, normally when people are interested in or face data integration challenges and they hear about FME and they contact us, that's normally when we step in as a sales team, and we try to find out where the pain points are from our customer perspective. And then to address these challenges, we normally require different skills because the IT environments have become more complex. And that's where we normally then get Christian's team or Christian himself involved, and then we kind of work as a team of two to have like the expertise on the sales side as well as the technical backup, always to know that we have somebody who can answer deeper technical questions. Because as Christian already mentioned, like the problems have become more complex. It's not just we need to convert data from A to B, but we need to integrate and automate processes.
So let's talk about that a little bit, Christian. So when you're in that kind of initial scoping phase, what are you finding? I mean, obviously everybody's different, but are there things that you're kind of seeing now that people are asking more about? I mean, you mentioned data security, but is there? It seems to me that everybody is already doing something so now they're looking to try to take it to another level, or maybe incorporate more data into it?
Yeah. So I would say usually it's about one or probably a couple of use cases prospects present to us. So that's where it usually starts. Probably they have heard of FME, probably not. They're just asking, okay, can you help me with this data management challenge? So it starts with a couple of use cases, and then we try to understand those demands, those needs, and then we listen to the customer, and then if we find out, okay, probably there's a more complex complex problem, for example, then when we try to we ask questions and we try to get an understanding what really is the key of the data management needs, so to say.
And so then you sort out kind of a scope of services for what you then ultimately engage for.
Yeah. And then what we often have as a result is that we figured out, okay, FME is definitely helpful for the prospect, for the customer, and because Terra is doing projects, basically the whole company is doing project, and then with having FME as a first anchor, we see that we can then start to develop the customer. So from first sales contact, understanding use case, understanding requirements, into probably more complex projects or bigger projects.
And so are customers needing not only the technology these days, but a service layer as well? Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, most customers are actually grateful when we tell them, like, we actually offer professional services as well, like, because then they don't feel left behind or left alone with a complex product. I mean, FME is easy to use, but if you integrate it into a complex IT environment, it can become challenging very quickly. And some customers don't have the skill sets on their own in-house, so they are more than happy then when we tell them that we can take care of almost anything. I mean, we even can host the full infrastructure if they want us to.
Yeah.
Well, and I got to believe there's comfort as well in knowing that if the only person in that organization who knew about FME or got up and decided to leave, they're not left without any expertise at all, because ultimately you can provide that consistent layer of support.
Yeah. That's the idea.
Yeah,
that's true.
So where are you finding traction? I mean, I know with geospatial data, that's been kind of the secret ingredient for FME for a lot, which means that it's been a lot of utilities and public. But I know the new positioning is really to not be beholden to just geospatial, but to really do any project at all with data integration. Where are you finding traction?
Yeah. So there are two or three samples that immediately come to my mind where we have long-time customers who used FME for geospatial questions, but then for whatever reason they talk to another department in the organization, and then it starts doing something completely different. So we have, for example, customers who are feeding their data warehouses for taxes calculation with FME. So still only a couple of probably customers doing such non-geospatial things, but we see that this is changing.
Yeah. So incorporating geospatial data in a lot of the prospects' work is still kind of pretty much the mainstream opportunities for Terra?
I guess so. I mean, that's what Don and Dale said in the plenary on Tuesday already. I mean, that's the unfair advantage that FME has compared to the
an incredibly unfair advantage.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, that's where we find traction with our customers is the geospatial part. What we do, as Christian mentioned, we do have customers that got into FME without the geospatial part, but the large majority is still on the geospatial side. Yeah.
So how long does it take typically for somebody to engage? And again, I understand everybody's different, but on the whole, I reach out and I say, here's my, I'm interested in Terra and what you bring to the table with FME. How long do we walk down the path?
It can be anything from like a week up till like a couple of years. Depends.
Before we do a deal?
Yeah, it can be. Actually, it can take a pretty long time sometimes. But average, I would say it's probably 3 to 6 months.
Yep.
That's what I would guess is a pretty like normal time frame to close a deal from the initial contact to closing the deal.
Yeah.
But it can be long sometimes.
And as mentioned, I think FME can be an easy entry into an organization, and then we start to grow this.
Well, talk to me. So there's been a lot of talk about where we are in the world, at an inflection point with, generative AI and all the types of data that are available now and all the technology that's evolving. I'm curious to get both of your opinions about kind of where you see us these days and what you get excited about being in this space.
Well, I mean, the data that we generate is growing every day. And that's something that companies or organizations need to address. And what me gets excited is that we got the perfect tool and skills to help our customers to solve their challenges when it comes to data, especially the geospatial side. And even in Germany, like some organizations within like local governments, for example, some municipalities, cities, they also have the task of digitalizing processes, which Germany is kind of lacking behind a little. So that's something that we find also where we can help them on the non-geospatial side. And it's just automating processes, like freeing up stuff, because everybody's short on people. That frees up staff to do some more valuable work while they can automate their manual things using FME. So that's something where I see just gets me excited, and it's just a very bright future for what we're doing. That's something that I appreciate.
Yeah. And I see the level of support customers need is very different. So we have demands for things like AI, for example, but also it's the questions of how can I organize my data in a more traditional way, because they depend on older systems also. So I think we are somewhere we can help with every stage. That's what we want to do.
Yeah, no, it's an exciting time, and well done with this event. This has been really amazing, incredibly well attended. It's nice to have a live event where you can interact with people. Best of luck for the rest of the year and for all the future Peak of Data Integration events coming up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.